I'm my brother's keeper. I'm my sister's guide. Standing here together with nothing left to hide. We lift each other up when the world feels torn apart. We're keepers of the flame. We're the healers of the heart.
Hi there. Welcome to my Others Keeper. Welcome to the new schedule of Barely Showing Up. I just was doing so much a few months ago, it burnt me out totally. So instead of not being ever on, I took a couple of months off and now I'm going to be on once a week. I might break in some weeks and show up every now and again, but once a week we are going to have amazing people like John. I have wanted to have John on my channel for months and months and months and months and months. Yeah, I've only been a channel for like a year and a half. So, you know, I have to kind of give myself a little bit of grace there. But John has an incredible life story. Tonight we're going to be talking about the 3 middle fruits of the Spirit. And it is just amazing that without those particular fruits, John's life would have been 100% miserable. And he has come through with joy, with grace, with humor. So everybody, welcome John Dirian.
Hi, everybody.
Hockeytown John, as other people know him. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So tell us a little about yourself, sir.
Well, I am I guess you could call me a struggling YouTuber at this point because I've had a channel for a while and haven't managed to get any videos up yet, but we're a work in progress. We're trying to get that going. We were talking a little bit before the show. I've been embracing my role as caregiver. My wife had hip replacement surgery yesterday, so I've been trying to keep up with that and caregiver. And, you know, after a lifetime spent caring for others, I think it's time for her to enjoy the fruits of her labor for a change. So
absolutely.
We're embracing that.
So hey, Alfonso, nice to see you. Yes, I'm having a very blessed day. Thank you so much for checking in. Was your wife having arthritis issues, or what was it?
She had really severe arthritis in her right hip, and it was getting to a point where it was really painful, and it was really a struggle for her to move. So she's relatively young. She'll be 57 next week, but
she is young.
Yeah, kind of young for that, but
for sure.
Fortunately, you know, with the advances in medicine, I mean, it was done as an outpatient surgery now because they do it anterior now instead of the old difficult way. So, I mean, she was up and walking an hour after she got out of OR. So, and she's doing great.
Wow.
Yeah, she's doing really good.
It's like, I guess, the advances when they went from regular surgery to laparoscopy. Right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That would have been the big difference.
Well, I had surgery back in April to remove about a foot of my colon that was giving me some issues.
Yes, and, I remember.
Yeah, they had a robot called Da Vinci. It was an 8-armed robot and made teeny tiny little incisions.
Yeah,
I think there were 6 of them all together, and you know, it was the recovery time is just remarkable anymore. The advances in technology are amazing.
Yeah, it is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Quite a number. I've basically everything out except for what's necessary for life. I still have both kidneys though, and I still have my spleen.
Knock on wood.
So, you know, I still do have a few things that I could get rid of if I wanted to, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, we keep them as long as we can.
Yeah, as long as they're healthy.
Absolutely.
That's the ticket right there. So, hey, Brian, nice to see you. We also have Indigo and Crystal here.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. Ladies, gentlemen, and all of you in between. Yes. Nice to see you. Um, so the three fruits of the Spirit we're going to talk about are patience, goodness, and kindness.
Mhm.
So, John, tell me, why are these particular ones special in your life?
Well, there's actually several reasons. I mean, we talked a little bit before we went live about, I was raised Catholic,
Mhm.
and my mother actually taught my catechism class. So,
Mm.
the fruits of the Spirit were kind of a throwback. I mean, it made me go back to my catechism days, and
Mhm.
it's a very important lesson in life, but especially for those of us who are part of the YouTube space, part of the
Mhm.
Facebook space, Reddit space. I mean, we all know how difficult it can be, to be part of that world,
Yeah.
because not everyone practices patience and kindness and goodness. And we want to
Yeah.
spread the word. We want to get people to understand that the world would be a much better place if we all could just learn these lessons.
Oh,
And
yeah.
having those of you who have known me for a while know that I had a handicapped daughter. Her name was Hope. And, without the benefit of hindsight and understanding what these things meant, I think that my life would have been much different as a caregiver, as a father. Um, and, I fall back on my faith a lot while she was alive, when she passed, and even to this day, in remembrance of her, and just keeping her memory alive. So anybody who has ever dealt with a sick relative or a handicap of any sort can understand that it's not always easy to be patient. It's not always easy to see the positive side of things, and we have to learn how to embrace God, or whatever belief that we have. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be God. It could be whatever higher power that we believe in. But
Something
no,
bigger outside of ourselves.
absolutely.
And just understanding that we are not it,
Right.
right?
Exactly. um and just having those lessons taught to me at such a young age really helped me to deal with the difficulties of, like, I've talked about it in the past. I mean, I had to be, my wife and I both had to be advocates for our daughter at every step. Insurance companies don't want to provide the things that you need for a handicapped relative, and you have to fight, and you have to show patience, and you have to show grace, but you also have to be firm in your commitment to making sure that your loved one gets the care that they so richly deserve.
Mhm.
And patience, kindness, and goodness, they all kind of go hand in hand
Do they
in
ever?
that, because it would be so easy to just explode at somebody on the phone and demand, start making demands and things like that. But that's not how you get results.
No.
As the old saying goes, um God, what is that saying? I'm trying to think of it. You get more, oh God, help me here.
Flies with honey than poo.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, something to that effect. I was going to be
Something like that. Yeah.
a little more tactful, but yeah, basically, yeah. And
Yes.
that is a lesson that we have to constantly teach ourselves, because I think our human nature tells us to fight, 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 constantly. And you can fight, and you can also be an advocate for someone and still have kindness in your heart and still have patience. It's an ongoing battle that I think a lot of us struggle with. But if you
Mhm.
have faith and you believe in those tenets, then
Mhm.
you're going to they will bear fruit eventually.
Absolutely. And that's
Mhm.
part of the human spirit as well, right? We
Sure.
are, I believe that we are created in the image of God. And I don't mean that we have two eyes, two ears, two
Right.
hands, all of that. I
Hmm.
don't believe that's the image of God. I believe that it is our character is the
Hmm.
image of God.
Absolutely.
And part of that will be those fruits of the Spirit.
Mhm.
They are essential to our humanity,
Yes.
or just evilness would run rampant in
Mhm.
general. Um,
Yeah.
so we have a few more people here. We've got Tiff, we've got B, we've got my mama. Hey, mama. My
Hello,
mom is
everybody.
Mary Lynn Lucas.
Oh,
So she's mama keeper.
okay.
Yep.
Hi, Mama.
Um, so tell me a little bit about your daughter, her handicap, and from what I understand, this is going to sound awful, but that was a choice that you made. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Originally, what happened was my first wife and I got pregnant,
Hmm.
obviously, and she had a high risk pregnancy previous to this one, and
Mm.
so because of that, we were asked to have an ultrasound done, which was not traditionally something that would be done in a normal pregnancy. So, but because she
Oh,
was
okay.
high risk, we had to. And during the ultrasound, it was determined that she had a hole in her diaphragm. So the diaphragm, for those who don't know, sits below your ribs, and it basically serves as a barrier to separate your lower organs from your upper organs. And because hers had a hole in it as she was developing, all of her lower organs were floating up into her chest cavity and preventing her lungs from
Oh,
developing.
yeah.
So, without some sort of intervention, um, most of these babies are born, they're unable to breathe, and they usually die shortly after birth.
Oh,
In
wow.
our case, now this was 1993, so it was quite a while ago. There was a new experimental procedure that was being done in San Francisco at the University of California, San Francisco, and they had a couple of successes. Um, and we sat down and had a long talk with doctors about it. They said basically what they would do was perform a C-section,
Hmm.
pull her out of the womb,
Hmm.
uh, go in surgically, repair that hole, put everything back where it needed to be, and then hopefully everything would continue to develop the way it needed to.
Hmm.
So we basically packed up our lives, moved to San Francisco for it's about 6 weeks, I think,
Hmm.
um, and had the surgery.
Hmm.
There were some complications.
Mm.
One of the things that they told us that could happen was that she could develop a brain bleed, because of the change, the drastic changes of pressure of
Yeah.
basically giving birth to a child and then putting it back in the womb. And she
How
did.
far along was she?
Um, God, I can't even remember. I know
Mm.
that it was very close to. We were only about 2 weeks away from the cutoff for the state of Michigan. I think it was like 22
For
weeks. I want to
termination kind
say.
of thing. Okay.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so the decision had to be made quickly. And there was some back and forth. And
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie, I was her advocate even then.
Mm.
There was nothing that was gonna prevent her from being born in my eyes. And
Okay.
so there was some back and forth with family members.
Yeah.
Um, but eventually, hope won out. So we went to San Francisco, we had the surgery, and she had some complications. When she was born, she was obviously premature. They knew that going in that she wasn't going to make it to term.
Mhm.
She had to be given a lot of steroids to accelerate the growth of her lungs and
Mhm.
and all that good stuff. But when she was born, she could breathe just fine. Everything was great, and I'm trying to think. A couple months in, she developed RSV, and for anybody who knows anything about that, that was a pretty rough way to go. She was back in the hospital fighting for her life, and
RSV is respiratory.
cessatial
sys-
virus, I think it's called, or something to
Okay.
that effect.
It's something so
Um,
they can't breathe.
yes, and it's basically something that young people, like infants are susceptible to,
Mm,
seniors are susceptible
mhm,
to it, and people with compromised immune systems. And so
mhm,
she had two of those three things going against her.
mhm,
So they had to take emergency measures to keep her alive. And, it was just, so life at that point it was tough. She had to fight every step of the way for the first few months of her young life.
mhm.
And we had a period there from, maybe 6 months until about 10 years old where she didn't really have a whole lot of issues. Um,
Okay.
but then, when she got to be 10, she started having seizures and there were other
Mm,
things that were happening as well. So, I mean,
mhm.
it was always a constant struggle. There were a lot of doctors, there were a couple of major surgeries, things like that. And that's where my teachings came into play for me,
Mhm.
because my natural tendency, my human spirit always wanted me to fight for her with everything that I had. And
Yes.
I had to be able to use the tools in my toolbox
Yep.
to advocate for her strongly, but also to have humanity in doing it. And
It's one of those hurry up and wait kind of things because
yeah,
time is the only thing that can heal it.
right.
And that's where the fruit of forbearance, I hate that word because nobody uses it anymore. Apparently, it's a financial term as well. Who
Yeah,
knew?
forbearance. Yeah.
Um, but that just generally means patience.
Well, and I always went back to the saying that, rather than exploding with judgment or anger, we
Mhm.
can participate with God and cultivate the spiritual fruit of patience,
Oh,
extending
wow.
mercy to all, forgiving and supporting people as we grow. And I mean, those words have rung true for me from the time I was, 10 years old until now.
Wow.
And without, like I said, without that basis, that I
Mhm.
think things might have been a lot different, and not in
Mhm.
a good way, not in a good way.
No,
So,
no. Life would have just been so much more difficult, like,
yeah.
in general, right?
Mhm.
It just
Exactly. Yeah.
so, yeah, I oh boy. So you named your daughter Hope.
Yeah.
What a
That was
beautiful name.
that wasn't originally gonna be her name.
Oh,
I've always been a big fan of the British royal family.
ah.
And so I wanted to name her Elizabeth Victoria, which would have been the
Ooh,
last two queens,
pretty.
the queen and the queen mother.
Yes.
Um, so Elizabeth Victoria became Hope Elizabeth, and that was her name. So
What a beautiful name.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
And when you said basically nothing was wrong or life just kind of continued, you said she also had some disabilities. Um,
Yes. So as a result of the RSV,
right?
she had to be put on a complete heart and lung bypass machine.
Oh, wow.
It's called ECMO. And
Yes. Yeah.
one of the drawbacks of ECMO is that most children that have to be put on it as babies lose their hearing. And
Oh.
so she was legally deaf. Um, and she was a spastic quadriplegic, which means that she
Mm,
had partial use of her extremities, but
right.
some of them were involuntary.
Right.
Um, so she had limited use of her left hand, and spastic. She had basically no control over her right at all. She was wheelchair bound from birth, and
Mhm.
so there were a lot of challenges that came along with that as well. But
Mhm.
the spirit of this child, I cannot stress enough. I have never met a more joyous child in my life. She
Yeah.
was always happy. I mean, even when she was at her worst, hospitalized, medicated, in
Mhm.
obvious pain, she always had a smile on her face, and she just
Mhm.
lit up a room wherever she was.
Looking at the
And
photos on your Facebook, there's smiles
yeah,
everywhere. She
yeah,
is gorgeous, that
yeah,
little girl.
she was something else. She really
Oh,
was.
wow.
And I'll tell you what, um that kindness and that
Yep,
goodness that was
yep,
within that child, mm, I just I fed off of it. Everyone did.
yep.
And it was hard to be angry at the world when you would look at her and know that no matter what life threw at her, she was always happy. Always,
Mhm,
always.
mhm,
So that kind of helped me too. I mean, that I learned to look at life through her eyes. And
mhm.
I thought, if she can wake up every day and have all these limitations and have pain and have things wrong and still manage to be happy, then what am I doing? What
What's my
what
excuse?
what's my excuse exactly?
Yeah.
So that became kind of a fuel for me too, and it made me learn how to embrace these fruits of the spirit and
Mhm,
and move them forward. I
mhm.
mean, yeah, that's the best
Was
way I can describe it.
Well, and you've been describing it beautifully because
Hmm.
I can just when I was little, my mom, did home care for a couple little girls with cerebral palsy,
Hmm.
and those girls were 2 of the they had severe limitations, but they
Hmm.
were the goofiest little girls. They would sit
Yeah,
there, they would giggle, and you could
yeah.
just tell that there was something going on in there that was just, they were
And
planning something.
and that's how Hope was. She didn't understand, obviously, because she had been born the way she was born,
Mhm,
and the way things progressed as she got older.
mhm.
Um, she didn't know limitation. She didn't know what that meant.
Mhm.
All she knew was determination,
Right.
and that even though she couldn't do something the same way everyone else did it, she would adapt and she would learn. I mean, I was telling, I did a live with Nicole Luongo, who was
Mhm.
an advocate for people with cerebral palsy. And
Absolutely.
I was explaining to her that Hope taught herself how to combat crawl. So she basically only had, gross motor skills in her left hand, not a whole lot in
Yep,
her right,
yep.
and practically nothing in her legs. But what she taught herself to do was she would get down on her stomach, she would grab her right arm with her left, and she would pull herself forward. And then she would repeat the process. And I'm telling you, she got so good at it that she would crawl all over the house, literally, and just laugh and
Wow.
smile. And whatever room we were in, she was there. I mean, she would just crawl her little butt in there and roll over and just
Oh.
giggle and laugh. And, she didn't understand limitation. She just
Oh,
didn't.
that's wonderful.
And
Oh,
she had
wow.
such a spirit in her that you couldn't help but be affected by it. You just couldn't. It was impossible. And
Yep.
she was a fun loving kid. I mean, I told Nicole a story about, um, we had a wheelchair for her,
Mm,
and the way the wheelchair was designed is that it had like a double wheel system, and you would
mhm,
squeeze the wheels together with both hands, and when you pushed forward, that would keep you straight, because
mm.
she only had the use of one hand. If she would just push that one wheel, she would turn,
Right.
and so that prevented her from turning. Unfortunately, she didn't have enough fine motor skill in her hand to be able to do that. So
Mm.
eventually what we did was we got her a motorized wheelchair and we slowed it way down.
Yep.
Um, and
You mean you
what,
didn't want her going 50 down the highway?
right. No, 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 thanks. And so what she ended up doing, and I told Nicole this story, is that in the school that she went to, every day each class would have to take their attendance to the office. And each day a different kid would be able to do it.
Mhm.
And when it came Hope's turn, instead of going to the office, she went and she went into a dark gymnasium, which is where they always did their fun activities,
Right.
and was just turning around in circles in the wheelchair. She had the motorized
Okay.
wheelchair, and she knew that if she turned it left or right, it would just turn in a slow circle. And there she was. Everybody was panicked because they didn't know what happened to her. Where did she go? And
She just went to play.
they finally found her in the dark gym, turning in circles and giggling with everything she had inside of her, Kim. I'm telling you. And that was hope. That was my child. And how can you be angry at the world when you have a kid like that? You just can't. You just can't.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that's where the goodness and the kindness, like you said, she didn't have the capacity not to.
Right. And she just radiated it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So between God and hope, I'll tell you what, I learned those lessons very well.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that is so great. So behind you, you have a bright neon sign, Healing Through Song. Tell us a little bit about what that means to you as well.
Well, so the mission of the channel was, I'm a big fan of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube, more than I care to admit. And one of the things that I've spent a lot of time watching and really getting into is music reaction channels. And I really love them. I love them a lot. And there's some really great creators out there that do a really good job. But I'm also part of the mental health community here on YouTube. And I thought, it makes a lot of sense for those two worlds to collide. And I don't see a lot of it. I mean, I do see some creators out there that do. There's one creator in particular that I watch that is actually a therapist by trade. And she looks at music videos from the perspective of a therapist. And I was really intrigued by that. I really love that notion. And I thought to myself, how many of us have, moments in their lives where music basically saved them, where you're heading down a dark place, and the music, even if it's music that makes you just cry your eyes out and sit in a dark room, those songs are now imprinted on those memories. And every one of us has that soundtrack of our life, and you can just the sound, the opening verse of a song will take you back to that moment. And I thought, how beautiful and how magical that is. And we should celebrate that,
Yeah.
And so I started talking with some of my other creator friends and just some of my, online friends. And I asked them, can you tell me a song or, a couple of songs that meant so much to you in your life that that memory stays alive every time you hear that song? And I got such an outpouring from people. And I thought, what a beautiful thing that would be to have a channel like that and be able to share these experiences with people and talk about the song and talk about the artist, because some of these artists have tragic stories too.
For sure.
And, the songs evoke so many emotions and memories. And I thought it would be beautiful to just be able to celebrate that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's my thinking behind the channel. And hopefully once life calms down a little bit, I can really get it going. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a labor of love. I really do.
Oh, that's awesome. When I was in grade 7, I was in the process of trying to unalive myself. And there was a song that God brought to my mind called I'm Giving Up, Giving Up. And it was by an artist named Brian Duncan. And it goes, I've got to stop kicking myself around, swimming in a pool of pity. I've got to pull myself up off the ground and get back to the nitty gritty. Because it's 1 step, 2 steps, and then I'm back on my way. And then it continues on. I'm giving up, giving up. I'm just getting goosebumps even thinking about it. That I actually even emailed him a couple of years ago and said, you know what, this is what your song did. You need to know that you made that difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really grateful that I had the opportunity.
Music saves lives. It really does.
It
really
does.
It does.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to get back to the fruits here because we're a fruity group. Um, let's see when you think of goodness and kindness,
Hmm.
well, even patience, goodness, and kindness, where do you find it in today's world?
Well, patience, I think, among even some of my creator friends or some of the
Hmm.
friends that we've made in our communities along the way,
Hmm.
I think that, again, a lot of us have this tendency to, when someone is speaking ill of us or spreading lies about us or
Mm-hmm.
trying to destroy us, that our natural reaction is to fight back,
Yep.
to, to fight ugly with ugly. And I think, I can't even tell you how many times I've had to try to talk friends off the ledge because it's like, don't roll around in the mud with them. Don't give these things oxygen. If you
Yeah,
starve a fire of oxygen, it dies, But if you
absolutely.
continue to feed it, it only gets bigger and it consumes you
Yes.
eventually.
And it
And
consumes both of you, not
yeah,
just the person you're trying to flame, right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
it's a really hard lesson to learn. It really is. Um, and so my philosophy on that has always been that, rather than exploding with judgment or anger, we
Hmm.
can participate with God and
Hmm.
cultivate the spiritual fruit of patience,
Hmm.
extending mercy to everyone,
Hmm.
forgiving and supporting people as they grow.
Yep.
And I take so much joy in watching people grow spiritually. Um,
Hmm.
it's an amazing transformation to watch. It really is. And
Yeah.
it hurts so much to watch somebody go the opposite direction and to fall into that pit of despair. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's
Yep.
it's horrible. And
Yep.
so that's kind of been one of my missions here in this space, in this community,
Hmm.
and I'm part of, many channels. And I
Hmm.
gravitate to the channels that are about positivity, that are about community, that are
Hmm.
about um family and
Hmm.
just, you know, taking all the good things that life has to offer and embracing those things, our
Yep.
friends, our family, our community,
Yep.
and to just the rest of it can take a hike. It
Yeah.
doesn't deserve space in our minds. It really doesn't,
No.
you know.
Well, what I try to do with this channel is we talk about difficult things and then
Mhm.
we talk about overcoming that difficulty. We
Right.
talk about how we get through it. Sometimes it's through spiritual means, sometimes it's through groups of people coming together and lifting each other up.
Hmm.
And that I've seen that so many times and it's absolutely beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. The-
And there's another channel that you and I have both been a part of. You have been an essential part of it. I've been very, very peripheral, called Mental Health Matters.
mhm.
And it is one of their phrases is we can do hard things.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's with each other.
Hmm.
The Beatles said it right. We're
Yeah.
going to get through it with a little help from my friends,
Hmm.
right?
We have a saying over there, better together. And,
That's right.
that has spread. It
Mm-hmm.
has spread like ripples throughout the community, through many
Mm-hmm.
communities. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
us are embracing that because
Mm-hmm.
it does take a village and you can't do it alone.
Mm-mm.
You need people who care about you around you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been through some horrible things in my life, in even just recent times, and
Yeah.
so have many others. And it really does bring my heart joy to see people succeed, to see them pull themselves out of that with a little help. Sometimes all it takes is just a hand.
Yep.
Grab my hand, and I'll show you the way.
Yep.
And, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm some, holier than thou person. I'm not.
No.
I'm a flawed human being just like the rest of us. But recognizing that we are flawed human beings and that we
Yep.
can still love and we can still care and we can
Mm-hmm.
still show patience and kindness and goodness.
Yeah.
It makes it all worth living.
Absolutely. Yeah. And showing other people that there is hope,
Yeah,
right? It
exactly.
and I've always said that depression isn't what's going to end us. It's going to be lack of hope.
Yeah.
That's when people take that final step of hopelessness, is they
Right.
see no way to get out of this. And so your daughter's name is
Mhm.
just an absolute treasure. And B is right, a hand up, not a hand down, or
Yeah.
even a hand me out,
Or hand
right?
out. Yeah. What's the old
Yeah.
saying? You'll like this one because I'm sure you've heard this one a million times, but I always tell people because um, I'm still kind of new to I mean, I've been around YouTube for a while, but I'm still
Hmm.
kind of new to the creator space. And
Hmm.
I'm still learning how things work.
Hmm.
I'm not comfortable making thumbnails, and there's a couple
Mm.
things that I'm not comfortable doing. And I'll
Hmm.
reach out to someone and I'll ask them if they can help me.
Hmm.
And a lot of times what they'll say is, "Oh yeah, I can make that for you." And the old saying comes back to mind. If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you
Hmm.
teach him to fish, he'll eat for a
Hmm.
lifetime.
Hmm.
And that's always been my philosophy. Don't give it to me. Show
Right.
me how to do it so I can do
Yep.
it myself so that I don't have to depend on others. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's, I
absolutely.
know it
So,
sounds cliche because we've heard it since the time we
but
were
it's a cliche
children,
for a reason,
but it's a
you
cliche
know?
for a reason. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your day job? What keeps you busy during the day?
I work as an HR rep for a company. Um,
Okay.
I decided that, and I've been a supervisor or a manager of some sort in
Hmm.
manufacturing for most of my career.
Oh, cool.
Um, but as I got older, I'm a people person,
Hmm.
and anybody who's worked in a factory for any length of time knows that that's not always the most positive environment to work in. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a people person. And so
Yes.
after decades of doing that, I said, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm only 50 years old. I could go
Yeah.
back to school, right?
Yes.
I'm not too old to
And
learn.
have a good 10, 15 years worth of
Yeah.
a new career.
Well, that was the
Oh,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I did. I went back to school and I got my bachelor's degree in training and development. And then, I was on a roll. I said, well,
Hmm.
shit, let's get my master's degree. So I went and I got my master's degree in human resource administration. And
Wow.
I just decided, you know what? I'm going to flip the script. I'm not dead yet. And I'm going
No.
to do something that gives me joy. And
Wonderful.
yeah, and I got both degrees and got into it, and I really love it. I really, really do. Now I work in a corporate environment, so I don't work at the plant level.
Right.
Um,
Well,
so it's
HR wouldn't be plant level anymore.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, if you're lucky, you might have one HR person, and they're usually part-time, and
Mm.
so, but
Hmm.
we do everything at the corporate level now.
Right.
And because I work for a worldwide company,
Hmm.
it's really interesting. I mean, I've learned how human resources works in different countries because it's not the
Mm.
same from country to country.
No, not at
And there's
all.
cultural differences and there's a lot to learn. It's HR is one of those continuing education type of careers.
For
If
sure.
you, if
Yeah.
you want to be really good at it, you have to always be learning. And
Hmm.
I just love people, and it's restored my faith in humanity. It really has. Um,
Wonderful.
I work with such a wonderful group of people. It's very team oriented. We do a lot of outside activities together for team building. And yeah, I wish my only regret is that I didn't do it 20 or 30 years ago because my
But
life would have been a lot happier and I'd have a lot less frown lines.
not necessarily. I'm
Well,
gonna push back here. You had to learn a lot to make you the human that you are. So
yeah,
that way you can take that experience of the negativity that you saw and said, okay, let's flip that.
yeah.
Let's make it so that these people don't have to have the same struggles that I had.
Hmm.
But you had to have gone through the struggles to recognize them.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, all roads lead to the place. Yeah, that's true. Because I was
Yeah.
just having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I said
Hmm.
to them, I wish I had known you 20 years ago. And they said, probably would have been a different relationship back then. And
Absolutely.
we may not have even liked each other back then.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
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 So,
Each
okay.
of my mom's husbands, it's there was something needed out of each of those husbands. She's been married 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
First husband gave her 2 amazing kids. Second husband gave her a man of integrity. Third husband gave her a man of romance.
Mm,
So
okay.
each of these husbands,
So each one came along at the perfect time.
exactly. And had she
Huh.
not been through one, the next one wouldn't have been so special,
That's true.
right?
All right, touche. I stand corrected, Kim.
I sit corrected usually. I don't stand very much. Anyway.
All right, I sit corrected also.
Yes. So the reason I'm asking you what you do for a living is I can teach you. I'm a teacher. I can teach you how to use the program Canva, and that's what I use to make all of my thumbnails.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm kind of self-teaching, but I do
that's what I
have,
had to do.
yeah, I have a couple of friends who are kind of helping me along.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It took me a while. I tended to go for all of them look the same,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but
So,
there's definitely a learning curve with all of them. So
oh, for
yeah,
sure.
but
Yeah.
just in kind of summarizing, I mean, there is a reason I do have a lot of oars in the water when it comes to the
Hmm.
YouTube space, and but I gravitate to those channels and those creators and those communities who, and it's no, it's no accident that so many people in your community, in others, kind of gravitate to those same channels too. It's
Yes,
because
absolutely.
we're all looking for that positive affirmation. Everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be
Hmm.
heard, and everybody
Hmm.
wants to be understood. And those are
Yep.
3 basic tenets of life that should be no-brainers, but
Absolutely.
they're so not. And so I
Yeah.
hate to say that, but I mean, but I gravitate to those spaces that have positivity as their basic tenet.
Yeah.
And that just makes every day worth living that much more.
Yeah.
And it
I
restores
agree.
my faith in humanity. So,
Yeah.
so
When I'm in the dark areas of my life,
mhm,
I don't need to go to a place where everybody understands the dark.
mhm,
Okay, because I get what's going on in my head. I
right.
want to go to some place where it's escape from the dark.
Mhm,
I want to go to a place where I can look at nothing but not winning, nothing but hope and joy and triumph.
mhm.
I've been watching a guy lately. He sits with dogs and he
Rocky
does,
Kanaka?
that's the guy.
Oh, I love
That's
him
the
so
guy.
much. I watch him every day. I love Rocky.
Yes.
Oh God.
I just found him like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? I've been watching
But
him for a
yeah, so
couple of
what he
years now.
does, for those of you who don't know, he has goes to a shelter, different shelters, but he goes to a shelter. He finds a dog who is basically shut down from
Yeah,
terror, from fear, from sometimes having been
mistreated.
injured by others.
Mhm.
And he
Abandoned.
then shows this dog the humanness, the kindness, and he uses these 3 fruits of the spirit every day:
Mhm.
the patience, gentleness, goodness, kindness,
Yep.
all of that. And by the end of it, that dog is a changed being.
Mhm.
So,
Once he gets to the scoop, I'm always in tears, always, when he finally gets the dog to sit in his lap, and oh God,
yep. And
it gets
today
me
I
every
watched
time.
one. He got to the scoop without even the dog even smelling the treats.
Mhm.
He got to the scoop and the dog's like, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah. But it's so
Oh,
uplifting because these dogs, you can see it, their spirits have been absolutely broken. And
yes.
slowly, just over the course of a half an hour of
Yeah.
just patience and showing that kindness and giving them affirmation, you're a good dog.
Yes.
He says, you're a good dog. And you see
Mhm.
their ears perk up and slowly they come out of that shell. And by the
Yep.
end, they're just the dog that they were meant to be. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It really is. I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Mm,
Absolutely. And that's also hope for the rest of us.
mhm.
Like, just if those simple positive affirmations can make a difference to a dog who
Yeah.
does not have that higher functioning brain that we like to say that we have, um, the like that kind of thing. What does that kind of mental change, the reframing, the repositioning of what we're thinking, what can
Right.
that do for us in our lowest
Exactly.
times?
Exactly. And so that's why I gravitate to these communities because,
Hmm.
you see a person who's falling apart inside and they've lost their will, and to watch that transformation when someone just shows them a little kindness, a little
Yep,
patience, and to what, it's like a metamorphosis. It's like from going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And
absolutely.
I know that's cliche as well, but it is for a
Well, no,
reason. And
it
again,
is.
to watch a
Yes.
person come out of that and rise above it and find the joy in life again, you can't put a price on it. You just can't.
Absolutely. And I have to remind people that before that little pupa, before that worm becomes a butterfly, it goes through a total deconstruction of being nothing but goo.
Yeah.
There's no brain in there. There's no wings. There's no feet. There's no nothing but goo.
Hmm.
And it's there that the transformation happens. So sometimes we need to become goo from being even the broken down thing that we are. We have to hit that rock bottom, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Macmir Dockeral, Sophia.
Yeah. For those of us who don't like pronunciations.
Yes, I'm just going to highlight this one, and I know it's part of a longer conversation. Um,
Mhm.
but just this phrase, I always loved water, so overcoming the fear I developed later is amazing.
Yeah, Sophia is a wonderful friend to the community, and I
Yes.
love her to death because water is my happy place as well. And
Mm.
she often will send me videos of her travels to the North Sea where she lives, and I tell you what, it's so therapeutic for me.
Nice.
Love it.
No, I've been fortunate enough. I've been able to dip my toes into, I think, 5 different oceans or seas, 5 or 6,
Oh,
something like that.
nice.
So
Nice.
it just is, yeah, like I didn't go swimming in the North Sea. It's a little chilly.
Yeah.
But I dipped my toes so I could say,
Mhm.
yes, I did that. You
Hmm,
know,
that's
it
cool.
just is one of those
I've
things where
I've been
you
in
just
all
get this
5 of the
strange
Great
outlet.
Lakes. Does that count?
Totally, absolutely.
And the Pacific and the Atlantic, but I still have a few
Yes.
oceans and seas to go. But yeah, all
Okay.
all 5 Great Lakes.
Well,
In fact,
I had
no.
done the Pacific and Atlantic,
Mhm.
and then a trip to Mexico took me down to the Caribbean. So that was my first 3 that I
Nice.
did. Yeah,
Okay.
but each of the Great Lakes, tell me a little bit about that, because those are not exactly a tight cluster. They look
No.
like a tight cluster on the map, but they're huge.
Yeah, they're all pretty huge. So I live north of Detroit. So I'm
Mm.
actually pretty close to Lake Huron. It's
Mm-hmm.
only about a 20-minute drive for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Are
was
you
one of the
Canadian then?
um this is
Do you
a
live in Canada then?
I do not live in Canada currently, but I do have a complicated relationship with Canada. So um I was conceived in Canada and
Hmm.
I should have been born in Canada, but my mother had
Okay.
a bright idea at 9 months pregnant to come home and visit her mother before she gave birth. And
Yep.
once you know, I decided to make my appearance then.
Hey,
So
mom.
so I was actually born here in the States and then went back, obviously after she got out of the hospital, and we lived there until I was 4.
Okay.
I did actually have dual citizenship for a number of years, but I had to
Hmm.
relinquish my Canadian citizenship. Um,
Oh, why
the
was that?
the pull, I don't remember what it was. Some rule that you have to live in Canada for at least, I think it's 6 months in
Yep.
every 3-year period of time.
Yep.
And because I had never returned back to Canada, I had to relinquish my
Mm.
citizenship. And, that's really sad for me because Canada has always had a special place in my heart. I have
Mhm.
most of my mom's side of the family are from Anjou, Quebec. So
Mm.
there's a very strong French Canadian presence in my life. Um, and, I just love the culture of Canada. I really do. And especially now, the way the environment in the States has been in the
Yeah.
last few years, I feel this pull to Canada. So
Mhm.
don't be surprised if I end up back in Canada at some point.
Come out to the
because,
prairies.
because I
Prairies
really
are way under appreciated.
yeah.
You
And
know?
as far as the lakes go, it's funny, it's
Yes.
taken me my entire life basically. I mean, Lake Huron was an easy one. Lake Erie, I think I did pretty early
Mm.
on.
Mhm.
Lake Michigan, I experienced in my 20s.
Okay.
Lake Superior, I think in my 30s.
Oh, wow.
And Lake Ontario was the last one on my list. And I just got to experience that one about 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Ooh.
I
What took you there?
took a little trip up to Toronto because I
Nice.
hadn't been in many years. And I don't know, I just had the spirit grabbed me and said, go have a weekend in Toronto. So I did that,
Nice.
and I finally got to experience Lake Ontario. So
Yep.
all checked off my list.
That is cool. I have
Yeah.
seen Lake Ontario and
Hmm.
Lake Huron.
Hmm.
I don't think I've seen any of the others. I would have to know more about the geography of where we had to drive.
Yeah.
We moved our daughter from Saskatchewan over to Windsor,
Oh,
uh,
right across the bridge. Yeah,
right across the bridge from you. That's right.
absolutely.
Yeah, so we spent a little time there.
Hmm.
But yeah, we
That's
have a
awesome.
nephew who got married, lives kind of halfway between Lake Huron and Lake Ontario. So
Okay.
we went from his place north to Lake Huron.
Hmm.
And then we
Yeah.
had an incredible, 3 days there?
Hmm.
So beautiful, so cold,
Yeah.
so cold, not even algae grows there. Like it is incredible.
Yeah. Northern Michigan
Wow.
is, oof, yeah, it can be pretty brutal
Woo,
in the wintertime.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
Feels a lot like
Yep.
Northern Ontario. Well, because it practically is, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Windsor's beautiful. I love Windsor. You can stand on the shoreline of the Detroit River in Windsor and look across and see the city of Detroit, and it's just beautiful. Makes me appreciate my city even more. I
Yeah.
love it.
Do you live in Detroit now?
Well, I live in the northern suburbs of Detroit, so
Okay, so Detroit adjacent.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We call ourselves Detroiters, but we're not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I live in Saskatchewan, and when I have traveled all over the place,
Hmm.
and I, the last trip my husband and I took to British Columbia, we're like, well, would we want to live here? Would we want to live here when we retire? And we were
Hmm.
talking about the mountains and that kind of stuff, and they're beautiful, but they're not productive.
Hmm.
It's beautiful land,
Yeah.
but nothing like trees grow, but nothing that you can do anything with.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's what I love about the province where I live. People look around at all these flat spaces and say, there's nothing there. And I'm like, excuse me, that field gives you your Quaker oatmeal. This field
Mm.
gives you your margarine. This field gives you your beer.
Hmm.
Like here we've got bread.
Right.
Like go to your grocery store, you can find all of these things,
Hmm.
and that comes from where I live. So, hey, Eric,
That's
nice
something
to
to be
see you.
proud
It's
of.
been a long time.
Hi, Eric.
So yeah, it just is one of those things where I like productive land. It doesn't have to be prairies,
Right.
but I mean, when we lived out on the East Coast,
Hmm.
fishermen and like aquaculture and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Oh, it's just beautiful, beautiful out there.
You're drawn to the fruitfulness of the land.
I
I like that.
am.
I like that
I
a lot.
am.
Hmm.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So are there any final thoughts that you have for us that we haven't talked about yet? Because we have time. So,
Okay. Well, there was one thing I was in researching for this, because I wanted to. I'm almost next October. I'm going to be 60. So
oh, wow.
my mind isn't as sharp as it once was, and as I said, when you discussed the topic with me, my mind automatically went back to catechism, but
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I remembered it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little bit of research before the show, and I ran across something that was really interesting to me. And it's from what some people might consider a controversial place. So it's from a place called the Bible Project. And what the Bible Project
Yes.
does is they translate the New Testament into understandable words,
Yes. Yep.
because a lot of people have difficulty with the
That King
translation of the
James.
Bible. Yeah. And I read this and I kept reading it over and over and over, and it was just amazing to me. And if you'll indulge me, I'll just
Please,
read it.
please.
It's very brief. So it says, the New Testament says God is patient in bringing judgment because he is not wanting for any to perish, but for
Mm-hmm.
all to move to repentance.
Mm-hmm.
As God's Spirit helps us see others like God does, we
Mm-hmm.
can find strength to also treat people with divine patience.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than exploding with judgment or anger, and this is what I was saying earlier, we can participate with God and cultivate the spiritual fruit of patience, extending mercy to all, forgiving and supporting people as they grow. And I just thought that was beautiful.
That is beautiful. Yes.
It really
When I was researching this, the Bible Project was one of the things that came up for me. Another one is compassion.
Mhm.
And it's a charity which takes care of children around the world.
Oh,
So they have a section on the fruits of the Spirit,
mm-hmm. That's
and it
great.
talks about entirely, what is the meaning of each of them. So forbearance is also called long suffering,
Mm-hmm.
synonym of patience. Patience can be short supply in a fast-paced world where everybody wants what they want when they want it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Holy Spirit has a never-ending supply of patience to flood the Christian's heart at those times when it's needed the most.
Wow.
And
That's
then kindness is the fruit that is the natural result of love. Like, when you think about it, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I keep bringing up my Catholicism, and
Yes.
not because I'm trying to be superior or anything, because I'm not, but I think Christians, we all believe in the same God, and we all, are kind of taught in similar ways,
I
but
call it flavors.
but one of the things about Catholicism that, has always struck me from a young age is that they Catholicism teaches us that man is not saved through faith alone,
That's right.
and that we are saved through our good works, and that when we get to heaven, we will be judged on what we did in this life, to help others, to lift others up.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why Catholics are so involved in groups and activities, and we're always having fish fries during Lent, and you know, um, fundraisers, and all of that stuff. And my
Hmm.
mother, who was also a teacher, um, instilled that in me from a very young age. And so I'm always looking um, to help those who maybe can't help themselves in that moment. And
Hmm.
it's as our dear friend Keela always says, in order to help others, it's the old the old airplane metaphor, that you
Yes.
have to put your own mask on before you can help anybody else. And
Hmm.
it's and being instilled with that, with those objects of faith, and
Hmm.
just being raised as to be a good person, gives you the tools to be able to do that. And there's no greater joy in my life, and in I'm sure a lot of other people's lives, than seeing others succeed. And it's
Yeah.
seeing others come out of that dark place and find the light. And as cliche as it sounds, it's, you know, what I base my life on now. I spent a lot of time in a dark place, you know, as I know you did as well. And
Yep.
it's
Yep.
the sweet tastes sweeter once you've tasted the bitter, you know.
Absolutely. Yep. And I'm unfortunately I'm going to push back on your Catholicism a little bit here. I was just trying to look for it. And
All right. I have an open mind.
my mom will be able to remember the reference. I don't remember the reference. Is by grace we are saved through faith, not by works, lest any man should boast. And that is in the book of Romans, I believe.
Yes, and I will say that there is a caveat to that, and the caveat is, you know, if you sit there and beat your chest about how good you are, usually good works go. I was going to say unappreciated. They're not unappreciated, but you don't have to. You don't have to bring attention to yourself when you do good things. I like to donate to people who need help, but I like to do it anonymously because I don't feel the need to have praise showered upon me, because that's the exact opposite of what God wants us to do.
Right.
You don't need to have some type of reward in order to do something good.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I think we're all right. I think Mom's right. I'm a little right too.
No, I think you are right. I think you are right. It's just the salvation portion it's not the works that save you. But elsewhere in the book of James, it does say that faith without works is dead.
Right. Yeah.
So
it
it's
kind of
not
goes
that it'll
hand in
save
hand.
you. They absolutely. They
Yeah,
are inextricably linked.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you can do a lot of good works and not have faith, and it's the same thing. I mean, you cannot have one without the other. You have to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Okay. Now that we're going to sit here and agree with each other, this is good.
Hey, I always have an open mind, no matter what the subject is. I challenge people to change my way of thinking. I am not, even as an older gentleman, I am not so locked into my ways that I can't have my mind changed. And you know, I think that's a key to happiness too.
I agree. I am willing to have my mind changed with solid logic and a firm foundation.
Right.
Not just because this is what culture says that needs to change and whatever.
Absolutely.
So, and what you did for the least of them, you did for me, is what Jesus said. Absolutely, Echo. Absolutely.
Right. Took that one right out of my
mouth. Exactly. Like, I hate YouTube channels that take their video camera to do a social experiment by helping all of these homeless people. It's like, no.
Right.
No.
Look at me doing all these great things. Yeah. No.
And Jesus said specifically, you are getting your reward here. You're not going to get it there.
Right.
It's like you said, it's when you don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing.
Exactly.
That's when you're going to get your blessing. So the goodness and the kindness needs to flow from your heart, not just as a come look at how good I am, right?
It needs to come from a place of purity. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, my friend, thank you for coming here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a really good
have
time.
a couple other subjects that I would like to talk to you about. Some of them may be more difficult. And some of them you may not be willing to talk about, because I just want to learn and pick your brain.
Okay.
So I will text you separately, and we will. I'll show you kind of what I'm wondering about.
What you're thinking?
I have a feeling I know where you're going to land on this.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think I'd like to know more about what you have to think, because you have specific experience dealing with people with significant physical and mental disabilities. So, and that is something that I do not have. I don't have experience in that area. So I like to learn from people. I don't have people on my channel who can say, oh, I've studied this, therefore I know. No, I've lived this, therefore I know.
Right.
right?
And I am one of these people, I will never, ever try to speak to another person's experience because I didn't live it. I can only speak from my own. And, and I don't try to know more than I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
So everybody, thank you for coming by. I
Yes.
don't have everybody's names in my brain because I'm not that smart. But I really appreciate everybody who came by. This is your conversation over there makes this conversation kind of stir the pot. Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. But if you must boast, boast on God. Yep, you're rewarded for both. That's right. So let's stop
Hallelujah.
on that one.
Yeah. I like that.
And I will talk to y'all later. Have a great night.
Have a good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Some come with scars, some come with dreams. In this circle, we're more than what we seem. No judgment here, just voices to be heard. Through laughter, through the tears, we find every word. I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's guide. Standing here together with nothing left to hide. We lift each other up when the world feels torn apart. We're keepers of the flame, we're the healers of the heart.